Okay. We have the one item from Councilman Turner.
Oh, that's correct. That's correct. Yes, sir.
Okay, you're live.
All right. Councilman Turner, you have the floor.
The item was introduced at the work session, and we talked about it at length. The moratorium on any new gas stations until we can make some modifications. Councilwoman Grimes was the driver of this. I will yield to her.
Councilwoman.
Yes, sir. We can always ride together, Councilman Turner. Yes, sir. I did introduce the moratorium request for the gas station convenience store combination piece that we have. Attorney Emily, and I won't try to pronounce your last name, but Attorney Emily will read, I guess, as our first read. We did have discussion in our work session, and we're ready now for our first read of the document drafted by Attorney Hazard.
So, Attorney Preston, before you do that, I want to know why are we doing this? And I had made a note to this some weeks ago. Why are we doing this citywide, as when there are certainly some areas that have an abundance of gas stations, and there are other areas in the city that absolutely lack the ability to have fuel in the whole area. So as my suggestion had went before, to make that by district, I am very uncomfortable with, first of all, having any moratorium during any place, particularly in a pandemic, and two, shutting off the rest of the other districts that the fuel stations that would fit fine in. I find it irresponsible on our end to have this the whole city shut off with regards to fuel stations in these areas, when there's other areas that lack this situation, period. And I just want to know what precipitated this to be able to have an entire citywide moratorium.
May I ask a question just for point of clarity or order, whichever one is applicable? Sure. We added this agenda item as a first read. So can we move with the official action of the first read and then open up for discussion? But the item was added to the agenda for the first read. So if we could get through the first read, that will at least solidify the action taken for that item for the agenda, and then go and have as much discussion as we need.
Thank you for your comments, Caldwell. As the chair, I can take privilege to make comments, first read or not.
Sure. I just want to make sure that we
thank you. I understand.
Address the item, the action item, even with discussion, which I told him for. Just want to make sure that the discussion does not disregard the action of the first read.
It has never done so. So thank you for your comments.
Thank you.
So with that, I asked a question: why are we doing this when we have a comprehensive plan that we pay very good money for, that we would not be following, by doing this?
I'll answer that.
Sure.
Well, first, I don't see how this is in conflict with the comprehensive plan whatsoever. But even at that, we have had several applications for gas station convenience stores within the last 12 months. And when you think you've got about all you're going to get, others keep popping up. And the question is, do we have any mechanisms in place to kind of tamper the number of gas stations we get in our community? Well, in the city of Stonecrest, be it in an area that's already heavily populated with gas stations, or be it in an area where there are none. If we take a look at our processes for permitting the gas stations, we might find that we need no changes. But you take a look at it, you might find that you need some serious changes. So this is only a moratorium, which says we won't accept any more application for a specified period of time, be that 90 days, 180 days, whatever. This is not prohibiting anything. All it's doing is say, wait up and put a hold on it for a short period of time, relatively short period of time, until we can get a handle on the way we permit these businesses. And what we're doing might be 100% accurate, or it could be 99% working against the interests of what we're trying to achieve in the city. So that's what we have to analyze. And if we don't put a moratorium in place and the applications keep rolling in, then there's nothing you can do once the application is made.
Sure you can. You can deny them, like you've been doing all along.
With reason. If they meet all of the criteria, then it's difficult to deny.
Well, again, I go back to, one shoe doesn't fit all here in Stonecrest. If we look at District 2 if Councilman Turner doesn't mind, if I use his district, where it's a high density of traffic and a lot of requests with regards to that area. I certainly can understand that. But if you look at District 1 and some borders of District 5, we're missing a tremendous amount of opportunity there. My hesitancy with this is that I don't want to deter any commerce in a pandemic. I don't want to deter any. If you're going to turn them down, you can turn them down. But I guess my other question would be to Emily Mashesky Preston, the attorney. How long are we talking about for?
The proposed ordinance, I actually have two versions, one of which is district-wide and one of which is citywide and one of which is for District 5. If you'd like, I'll go through and read it quickly, the meat of it. It says, an ordinance of the city of Stonecrest, Georgia, imposing a moratorium on the acceptance of any application for special use permit or building permit for which a special use permit has not been applied for proposed gasoline service stations. And a gasoline service station is defined as a building, lot, or structure or facility having pumps and storage tanks where fuel, gasoline, oil, or other similar products are dispensed, sold, or offered for retail sale. The moratorium is necessary to maintain the status quo while there is a study undertaken into gasoline service stations into the city of Stonecrest. And the two differences between the proposed version, both of them are for 120 days. But whether it is citywide or whether it is from District 5, Section 1 says a moratorium is imposed on and the Director of City Planning shall accept no application for special use permit, land disturbance permit, or building permit for proposed new construction of a gasoline service stations defined as building, lot, structure, or facility having pumps and storage tanks where fuel, gasoline, oil, or other similar products are dispensed, sold, or offered for retail sale. And it goes through Section 2. New construction would be anything that would result in one or more buildings, increase lot coverage, or modification of a footprint. Additions are considered new construction. And Section 3 says this moratorium shall be for 120 days. If there's a final vote of City Council on the proposed amendment to the zoning ordinance before 120 days, the moratorium will expire on that date or on the date where the City Council votes to deny the proposed amendment. So as soon as there's a vote on the amendment, the moratorium would end.
Okay. Well, it brings me back to my original statement and comment and email. Then, Councilwoman Grimes, if this is the bill that you want to carry it, carry it for your district. Just, carry it for District 5.
But Mayor, I also like to carry that for my district too, because I've been receiving a lot of permits and it is overwhelming and saturating my area to the point where it's just kind of ridiculous. So I would like to have that moratorium in my district also.
Okay. 2 and 5. And 4.
And 3, and
Yeah.
I guess we'll take a motion at such time that it's applicable for the second read and the adoption, but um, I'll be moving that it is citywide when we get to that meeting.
We're there now.
Oh, no, sir, this is just the first read.
I understand that. We didn't even
And
hear from
before,
Councilman Clement.
and before we proceed, I would like to ask either of the attorneys to address what Councilman George Turner said earlier in regards to the SLUPs. He says that that I think I forgot how he put it exactly, but basically we have to have reasons or somewhat it has to stand up to some kind of reasoning. Could you address that? Because it's been my opinion in all of these SLUPs instances that our vote was our vote. But one of you guys?
Winston, I'll address that unless you would like to. This is Emily. When you are voting on a SLUP, there is a list of criteria there, A through I believe R or S, that should be applied. So it is your vote. You do have the discretion to weigh those factors, but those factors should be used in making that decision.
Exactly. And, so plain talk says that we should weigh those, but we don't have to vote based on those. For instance, like in the case of proliferation, if we find that in proliferation is not one of those items, it should be, but if we find that, but due to proliferation, like what Councilman Rob Turner is discussing, that in his district, you say, well, we got an abundance of service stations, it's saturated, then Rob Turner, who would lead that conversation, would have the discretion to say no to that. Would that not be, I'm certain it's acceptable.
Yes, sir, but your discretion. So the answer would be no. You don't have the discretion to depart from those factors. You must use those factors in making your decision, but you do have discretion in applying the factors. And I do believe, it has been a while since I looked at them, but I do believe proliferation is one of the factors for the special needs permit.
Very important. That is critically important because I did not know that. And I don't
like to double check that because that's never come up.
I don't mind admitting the fact that I didn't know that. And but if that is the case, that's all the more reason why we don't need a moratorium when we have mechanisms, except for in SLUP 6, to really to ensure that the public have an opportunity to still express their opinion, express their input, and that council will have the ability to act on it based on, those. So if you can, Emily, Attorney Emily, if you can check and make certain that is the case, then I think that would definitely change the dynamics, because then we would have a somewhat of a moratorium until we actually address the issue, which is my whole point with this whole discussion. I think we should go directly to the issue, as in, let's go to zoning instead of issuing a 120-day moratorium. Why not just, this entire effort could have been spent on rewriting the zoning, as opposed to, just issuing a moratorium with basically, when we have other mechanisms in place. So, I think that's a good thing. And like I said, I think I don't know who emailed, I sent it to, I don't know whether Councilman Turner or someone else, but that, we can definitely look at this. If we need to address SLUP 6, then we can address that directly. But otherwise, I think we're safe with the SLUPs that are required throughout the city for any new service station. They just can't crop up unless it's a SLUP 6, which is the case with the what we were dealing with tonight. So, as Councilwoman Cobble did, she had every right to ask for a denial, and had it passed, it would have, that project would have been denied tonight. And so council now have and the planning commission have now a chance to listen to them, since they did not present their case to the planning commission last time around, and to listen to them again at council, and then we can then deny the project. So the citizens are not at risk. If council just rather not be bothered with the permits and with the slubs, then that's a whole different story. But I think at some point in time, I don't think we should shut ourselves out of any particular business. And I know that's not the direct, intent, but that is what's going to actually end up being the outcome.
Yeah.
So
Address what I open up with, and that is that when you say proliferation, then you have to define proliferation. What proliferation in one person's mind might not be the same in another's. So I think this will give us a chance to do that, to define what we mean by proliferation.
Well, then we probably shouldn't have addressed it before we had some idea of whether or not we're in proliferation.
What I'm saying is that this will go into the discussion during this period of the moratorium, and we'll get clarity. If we can get clarity in 30 days, then it's over. Or if you have to extend it. But this will give us time to bring that clarity, and you cannot do for one what you don't do for the other. I know you're saying that we could just arbitrarily deny. I beg to differ. Lawyers waiting to sue you every turn you make. And if you give something to one and not to the other, you're opening us up for litigation. And that can really tie us up on something we don't want to be bothered with.
Councilman Turner, you do that every meeting. We don't take them all in a pot. We take them, individual, so whatever first read is fine.
If I may interrupt, I have found the criteria. There are additional criteria for gas stations, which I think you probably are more aware of. Chris could probably speak to, but the criteria I was speaking to specifically is criteria S, which says whether the proposed use would result in a disproportionate proliferation of that or similar uses in the subject character area.
And then if we are being, just really, straightforward about it, I do think that, personally, I do think that protects us, while at the same time allowing for a district like my district, where, we have miles of areas that can use service stations that are not affected at all by communities. As a matter of fact, communities would not even come to the table in regards to a service station there, because these areas, I can name a few that they are in dire need of closer service stations. So we just heard from Rogers Crossing not too long ago, but it takes a minute to get to a service station from Rogers Crossing and some of the other communities in District 1. And I know my district is a bit more spread out than everybody, so certainly it is not a one shoe fits all thing. But certainly even in the case as it stands now, if a service station came into my district requiring a SLUP, it would come to city council, and even in that case, council would get an opportunity to vote against it. And now we have, according to our attorney, we have the standing to say, hey, it's our interpretation that that is not a suitable use, and it does not fit a need. So I mean, we still have that discretion. So I think we're safe. If we're trying to serve the people, I think we're suited for that already. We just may not have been aware of it. At least I wasn't. I'm not afraid to admit when I don't know something, and I did not know what you just spoke of, Emily. And I so I think that really helps me.
Well, I think to Councilman Turner's point, I mean, and we have done this before, but we have debated what proliferation is. It's up to each and everyone's interpretation. And history has shown the city of Stonecrest City Council that our interpretation on many of things have been on 6 polar opposite ends. So to leave it up to the interpretation of 6 individuals to make a decision at that time of what defines proliferation and what doesn't, seems to me not to be in the best interest of the people, and to also not serve all of the city, but yet just keep those that are interested in continuing their definition of proliferation, so that their needs are met for whatever reason those are. So just to wrap up, I mean, my comments is, we had a really good, robust discussion and work session a few weeks ago about this. And I'm actually slightly surprised, Councilman Clinton, to be honest, to hear your almost, to me, would be a change of heart And the discussion, it sounds like your discussion is a lot different than what it was last meeting. But nonetheless, I think that we came to a place that we were in agreement with about the need for it, how to get there. We even actually, I think it might have been either your recommendation, and I might have followed up with it, that we would take the distance out and just say moratorium in general. And if I'm not mistaken, you had agreed to that too. So, I mean, it just goes without saying that, obviously, things come in the coming weeks that make folks change their mind. But I thought that we were in a very amicable place, all five of us, with moving forward with this.
Yeah,
But nonetheless, we'll see when second read and adoption comes of what we do.
yeah. But absolutely correct, since you call my name. So yes, last week, if you go back and listen to the tape, which I did right before this meeting, you'll see that my overall and overarching concern was exactly why we need a moratorium. If you guys are going to actually do a moratorium, then do what it is you're saying you're doing, because what you guys presented last 2 weeks ago was just, it was, in my opinion, just ridiculous. And that is evidence in the fact that you guys actually went back and changed it. Because if it was straight, if you felt it was great, then you would have kept it as it was, but you didn't. You made the changes to it. So yeah, but moratorium, and as I said then, even if you go back and look, and I know how council memory is, but if you go back and look, even when we did the dollar stores or the small box stores, every single council member here who voted on that, who was there available to vote on it, voted yay, except for me. I voted nay. I have been consistent with this thought ever since day one. I don't think we do things, and I said it at that meeting, I said it last week, and I'm saying it again. I don't think that we should, even at the first meeting, I said, yes, I would be okay with putting a moratorium or a ban on small box discount stores if it was in a particular area, like the overlay district. But for citywide, I don't think no city should do that. That's just my philosophy. Same thing with service stations or any other business. I don't think a city should citywide hinder any business from coming into that city. I do think that citizens should always have a way of input. So I think with what we're doing now, we do give citizens input, but what we're moving towards, we're taking the citizens out, and we're taking the businesses themselves out, and it's still somebody's definition of proliferation. That's the whole point of reason why we're addressing this, because evidently, you guys have said you feel that there are too many. So that's just my argument. That's where I'm at. And no, I did not go backwards. As I explained earlier, I'm saying basically the same thing I said before, and I'll stick to it. I'm consistent with my thought.
Attorney Preston, you suffice for your first read?
Yes, sir.
Thank you. All right. That is the first read. We'll move to, we have no use for executive session. We'll move to city attorney comments.
Mr. Mayor, earlier I brought up with a question about appointments when we were at that section. You said that was not the time, we'll get to it later. And I just wanted to point out that we had some appointments to the Development Authority that have not been confirmed by council. So we need to find a time to get that taken care of. If we're going to add that to another agenda, you have those appointments that are not confirmed.
Thank you. We'll add them to another agenda.
Okay.
Mr. Attorney?
I have no report this evening, Mr. Mayor.
All right. Start with District 1. District 1 comments.
Well, first of all, it's good to see you back, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you, sir.
Hope you're feeling a lot better. It's a new year. I'm looking forward to some great things here in the city of Stonecrest. I'll be glad when we get out from under this COVID restriction so we can, get back together as a group. I'm looking forward to whatever retreat. I'm looking forward to the financial retreat, the budget retreat on Thursday, and to follow up with whatever retreat comes after that. But I want to speak more directly to the citizens in Stonecrest at this point in time. And I would just ask the citizens to really pay attention to what we do, how we do what we do, and what our intents are, because I believe with all my heart that all our intents are good. And, as we try to get to get on the train going in one direction, on the same track, I think sometimes we may inadvertently pull back, for whatever reasons. But at this point in time, I would say, we don't want to outgrow our britches, as they say. But at the same time, we don't want to die by not growing. And so we have to make room for all sorts of growth in a responsible way. And so I think, we have to look at what we have on the books. In the Bible, God said to Moses, what you have in your hand. So sometimes you have to look at what you have in your hand. You may be surprised that you got everything you need in your hand to carry out whatever you need for the city. So we just got to get on one train of thought, a successful train for our city going forward. And I think we got good people on board. I think we can move this together. I think every city councilman here, I spoke to at one time or another coming into this year, and I said to them that I think we got the best city council. We're going to have the best year ever, and that was for 2020. So I just hope we can go forward and make certain all that do happen. I love all you guys, every single one of you. And, I just really wanted to see us do well as a city council. And I don't think it's too late. And I think we all been doing quite well. Don't get me wrong. Don't take that as an opportunity to become offended, because I didn't mean it that way. But to the people of Stonecrest, we love you guys. Stay healthy. If you're eligible for a vaccine, get out to get your vaccine like Councilman George Turner did. And let's move forward. Thanks.
All right. Thank you, Councilman. District 2.
Mr. Mayor, it is good to see that you're doing better. I'm glad to know that you're on the mend. It's a good thing with all that gray hair under your chin. Right. But anyway, I like to also just say in reference to what the councilman just said a few moments ago, please stay within the guidelines of the CDC in reference to this COVID. It's very, very serious. It's very damaging, not only to the physical man, but also to the mental and the spiritual man, what it's doing with the isolation and all these other things happening. And even now, hearing now that the rise in suicides for children are starting to become an issue because of their isolation and missing their friends and all. So this is a very, very dangerous time we're in, but a very serious time. Continue to pray, continue to believe, continue to do what you're called to do with the distancing, with the mask and with washing your hands, but also get that vaccine. My wife and I are going out tomorrow. We got an appointment tomorrow to get it. So it's very important to get it. So stay alive so we can enjoy the great things that Stonecrest are doing. So have a wonderful time, have a wonderful night, and stay safe. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilman. District 3.
Thank you. First, let me say that I want to thank everyone who reached out to my family and I over the last week or so with your condolences to my family. It's amazing to me how many supporters there are, whether they, are close friends or extended friends or extended family. They just take a moment of their time to reach out and wish your family all the best. And we have had a very difficult 4 to 5 weeks with starting with the passing of my aunt, and then my family, my son, my husband, and I tested positive for COVID. And then 2 short weeks later, we lost my grandmother. Just buried her Saturday. So it's been a roller coaster ride for us for sure. So wanted to say thank you very much for your well wishes, your condolences, and just checking in on my family. Just making sure that above all things that we are doing well and trying to stay the course. Also wanted to mention to everyone that has inquired about how they can be involved in some more of the committees that we have, how they can be involved in some more of just city business in general. It's so heartwarming to see that there are truly constituents um, that really desire to see great things come out of the city of Stonecrest. And despite some of the things they've witnessed in the past, they still have that desire and that passion to see that we are successful, before all is said and done. And that's just really, really heartfelt. That sometimes you feel like you're fighting for everyone, and then when you realize that there are folks who want to jump in and help, makes you feel good that it's a family, it's a community involvement. It's everyone wrapping their arms around the city, trying to make sure that we stand strong, stand proud, and stand firm. So just really appreciate that. Continue to stay engaged, continue to stay safe, and just remember to love on your family, love on your friends, and just love on your neighbors because our time here is short. And we want to spend all that we can loving on each other as much as possible. So that's it for me.
District 4.
Let me just quickly say that Councilman Clanton pointed out that I mentioned earlier that I did get my first COVID shot at Stonecrest, and I was able to go inside the building. It's set up very impressively. I was very pleased, and I was one of the first ones to use the inside method versus the drive-through method. So I encourage you to keep trying to get your appointments in. It took me about 6 or 7 tries to make it happen, and I got my appointment and ready for my second shot next month. And I'm just pleased to see what's happening with that effort at Stonecrest. I listened to Dr. Fauci this morning as he addressed GMA, and he talked about where we're headed with the next wave of this infection. And folks, it is quite sobering. Take this thing seriously. I know I'm echoing what others have already said, but redundancy has its place. Please, please, please take this epidemic very seriously. And let me just also mention on a lighter note, one of our first roads to be paved, major roads to be paved in Stonecrest was Salem Road. And they left a little piece undone. So I've been getting beat up for over the last almost 2 years now because they didn't come back and finish the job. They couldn't because DeKalb County had not laid the sewer lines. Well, as of this week, the sewer lines are being laid on Salem Road. So hopefully that will be finished and we can go ahead and get some more roads paved by way of ILMEG and SPLOST. Just want to throw that in. Thank you and have a good night.
Thank you, sir. District 5.
All right, I'd like to just say again, Happy New Year to all of the Stonecrest residents. If you did not attend our work session, you do know now that we are a little different in terms of our layout. First time we meet, which is the second Monday, will be in work session, and the fourth Monday will be our council meeting. And both do start at 6 o'clock. So go ahead and tune in and get yourselves ready for this ritual and routine of being involved. District 5, I am so appreciative of you just being engaged. You're starting the year out, boy, oh boy, and I am into the midnight with what you're doing, and I'm so excited about that. Tell a friend, tell somebody who's in District 5 to stay engaged, and I greatly appreciate it. COVID is real, guys. And I know we've all said it, but it doesn't get any more real when it sits on your front doorsteps or it sits around your family. So far to COVID, I've lost 4 family members, 2 in the last month and a half. One, again, 102 years old, no issues, just old. And then COVID came and took her out. And another aunt we buried a couple of Saturdays ago. Otherwise, okay, and it took her out. So please understand, this is real. And I ask for the city of Stonecrest to send out prayers for every educator that you know. In my 25 years of being an educator, I have never had to be so transparent about what might ail me in order to do my job. This is a very tough decision for many of us who love our profession. We love our jobs. I love being Miss Grimes. I don't have to worry about the R. That's okay. I love being Miss Grimes, and I love being Miss Grimes and then Auntie Grimes and almost Grandma Grimes at this point to some of the students whom I've taught. It's a very difficult decision to choose between what you believe is safety for yourself, your family, your children, and the ones whom you love and hug on when you're in your profession. Both my parents are 79 and they have their shots. I'm grateful, but I'm still concerned. So I ask you to please be cautious. Millennials, please be careful. My 20, 23, and 27, please be careful, because now COVID is really affecting every age. It's not just 65 and over. Again, D5, thank you. If you need me, you know where to find me. You can always contact me. All right. And Mayor, prayers are not, we don't take sides when we do prayers. I'm going to say publicly, I pray that you made a true and authentic decision to continue to go at the rate you've been going, because your health matters to more than just you. I'll have to say that again. Prayers for you that you continue to mend.
you.
Prayers for Mr. Joyner and his family. And again, pray for the educators that you know. Good to see you, Mayor.
Thank you. I'll close with a couple of things. I appreciate the well wishes. Everybody takes things different. Everybody's been on whatever side of the tracks with this COVID piece for your own individual self and for your family. And having passed this season with full-blown COVID like an elephant sitting on my chest and cancer surgery at the same time, it taxed all of my physical being at once. But I want people to know that thank you for your well wishes, particularly from my staff and everybody. I came back early for a reason. I am not 100%. You're never going to be when you have both of these at the same time. I'm okay with that. Understand this, that you all won't be able to take this in because you all haven't been in my shoes. I'd rather die in this chair and make sure Stonecrest is right than to stand on the sideline and watch it go sideways. And I mean that to the bottom of my heart. With that, there are some people that we owe a tremendous special thanks to, and one being my best pal and long-term friend, that is Pledge Joyner. That man deserves every ounce of respect and integrity that we can give him. He is going through things that you all couldn't imagine from where he is today. That is one tough cookie. And he is the epitome and the best of Stonecrest as a person and as an individual. And I'll let him share the rest of it, from there. I don't have to be 100% to be back, but we need to get on the same page also as to where we're going and what we're doing. That's why I'm pushing you hard for a mayor and council retreat. You all do things district-wide. I have to do things citywide and continue to where we're going. Let me give you some very specific examples. I want to thank absolutely the queen of everything that happens good, and that is Iris Settle. Iris Settle has managed this COVID situation in the former Sam Club building, which is our now world headquarters. She has managed the piece with regards to the vaccines. She has managed this piece with regards to the voting. Stood up the county because of Ms. Settle. And I want to publicly thank you, Ms. Settle. I also want to let everybody know that this Stonecrest, and I learned this from Ms. Settle, this is a holy place. This is the Jerusalem. And we're going places that people could never imagine. Here we are, dead heat in survival mode with regards to a pandemic, and we're growing business like nobody's business. Special on us, that's getting ready to come out. And we'll keep some other things going. Two other people I want to mention quickly, then I'll get off the line. Person is Clarence Boone and his team. Nobody on this planet could have managed that Aaron Matthew Allen Small Business COVID Relief Fund better than Clarence Boone and his team with anybody else. It was unbelievable. You all would have had to be at the startup factory. I know where I caught COVID when I shook this woman's hand just for her to receive her individual grant. But I did it anyway. And then they called us and told us she had COVID. 2 days later, I got a fever on my back. That probably wasn't the best thing for me to do. But the reason I bring this up to you is that you all would have had to be around to look at the tears, the hugs, cries, everything that Clarence Boone and his team did to hold up people that looked us in the face and said, we are on our last dime. Thank God for Stonecrest and this COVID program. So that's why we can't do anything other than praise these people. We don't have to look up their skirts, step on their feet, talk crazy. Stop doing that. The folks had a great opportunity, and hopefully we'll have another great opportunity as the president moves toward round 2. Last but not least, because of our government affairs manager here in Stonecrest, that is Ms. Brenda Cornelius, we have Ossoff, we have Warnock, we have Stacey Abrams on our side in Stonecrest. We've always said about what relationships are. If it were not for Brenda Cornelius representing us out of the mayor's office, none of those people would have gave 3 cents about coming to Stonecrest. And that's why we have the big timers here. That's why we will lead the Southeast. The only thing I ask council and ask of the citizens, let's at least try to get on the same page. There is greatness that we can do amidst the worst time in this century. There's greatness that we can do. I'm willing to extend that olive branch. I'm willing to change the things that we do so that we can move forward when one area. Well, make no doubt, council, I'm not going to fight y'all this year. I'm not going to do that. I'm just not going to do that. We need to pull in the same direction. We have shown the world that Black folks can make something out of ourselves. And that's what we are going to do, and be proud of it. All you all have to realize is that you're making history too. Yes, my picture is the first picture on the wall for the next 1,000 years, but you all have an opportunity to do something special in each one of your districts to be remembered by. And you can't do it alone, and I can't do it without you. So I just wanted to make sure that everybody understood how hard staff here is working in everything that we do here with this pandemic and our business licenses, and everybody else is working here. We're above revenue. So we don't have to get treated like children. We don't have to get talked down on. We don't have to get chastised. You have a 100%, 1,000% effort here at City Hall. And that includes our partnership with our citizens, our partnership with the committees that we have, which I'm ready to reconstitute when we all come together and have one goal, and then move the city forward. So with that, we are adjourned, sir. Thank you.